What's up, Twitch chat and YouTube? Welcome to a Vintage League. Just a little quick, life and Vintage update. I've been having a hard time playing Vintage recently. I have like a pretty bad character flaw that I've always been working on, where I have recently had a hard time enjoying playing Magic unless I was winning, and I haven't been doing a lot of winning recently. Even though this year we've qualified for the Pro Tour playing Vintage, I have like a 50% Premier win rate in Premier events, which is really, really bad for me historically. And I've just it starts compounding and compounding, and we O2'd the showcase last weekend, and I was feeling like shit. And then I still realized I had to play my Mana Traders matches, and I had promised I would stream all of them, but I really wasn't feeling streaming them, which resulted in me doing some pretty unhealthy amount of vintaging. I ended up playing like 28 matches in like a little over a day, which I never recommend doing. Don't do that. And it was really bad because I probably should have stopped, but I didn't want to stop because I felt like I was obligated to make sure I made content for the Mana Traders tournament, like make sure I played in the tournament. Which is probably not like the best choices. But I did it. I did end up playing a lot of matches. I was down at like 40% win rate at some point, and you need a 60% win rate over 30 matches to qualify. I ended up going like 9-1 in my last 10 games to get very lucky, and so we will be playing in the Mana Traders at the end of the month. But what I had said after I did this on Sunday was that I really wanted to take the week off and just like get it out and stop playing Vintage. And so that lasted like a day. To be fair, for a day I didn't open Magic Online. But what I did is I just watched some K-dramas for like a whole day and just disassociated, which was very nice. Except I don't understand why the male lead in K-dramas is just such an asshole and terrible and always irredeemable, and I don't get it. But maybe that's because I'm a dude. I don't get it. But thankfully, the ones I watch at some other parents. Anyways, we're getting way off topic. I feel a lot better today, and I've had a bunch of ideas floating in my head about what I wanted to play recently, and I really wanted to give Goblins another try. I think Vintage Goblins, since the printing of Snoop and Muxus, plays like really differently to like the historic versions of Vintage Goblins. And so I wanted to just give it another look. What I did is I took the last winning list, which was probably from Goblin Lackey 1. And the original list, I think, of this variety was probably from Dom Harvey, but I'm not 100% sure. But the cool thing is that this list has a lot of ways to play. The biggest thing is that a Snoop with a kiki-jiki on top makes a bunch of like an infinite number of Snoops, and then you can sack them using a bunch of different ways. But one of the cool things is like if you have a recruiter or a matron a recruiter in play, the last kiki-jiki activation can target the recruiter, and then you can put like a Mog Fanatic or slinging on top and then sack all the infinite things. Or you can make infinite mana by sacking them to Skirk Prospector. And basically, like, if you play a recruiter, you can stack your deck so it's Snoop, Torch Courier, kiki-jiki, in which case, like, you can actually kill on turn 3 just by playing a recruiter. A recruiter is just a 1-card combo for a turn 3 kill. And there's like a lot of different ways that this combos are set up, and it's really kind of interesting. One of the biggest pluses is you have Cavern of Souls, so a lot of your combos are just uncounterable, which forces your opponents to have removal, and people just don't have that much removal typically in Vintage. Another aspect of the deck is that it just plays Goblin Lackey plus Muxus, so if your opponent doesn't have a creature, doesn't have that turn 1 Deathrite Shaman or Hollow One, then you might just get like free wins by attacking with Goblin Lackey. And then they have like all kinds of sweet tutor targets that you can get with your recruiters and your matrons. You can like grind the game out with Ringleader, or you can kill a creature or a planeswalker with this Munitions Expert, kill an artifact with the Crater Maker, which lends yourself pretty well to having things like Demonic Tutor and Vampiric Tutor. specifically Vampiric Tutor, which lets you put a card on top for your Snoop. So you're kind of playing the typical like non-force hate bears, lock pieces in Chalice and Thorn and Misstep, but you're playing like a full set of Chrome Moxes to help power this out. And in sideboard, I have a couple more Silver Bullets, Earwig Squad for like a Tinker deck maybe, Trash Master for artifact decks obviously, and an extra Missions Expert for other creature decks, along with some of like the hard hitting Graveyard Hate with Leyline and Pithing Needle, and No Rod for the PO decks, and Mindbreak Trap for PO and Doomsday. So yeah, it's an exciting deck. I think that it's a deck that's probably underplayed because I actually think it's viable. I wouldn't go so far to say that this deck is like super strong or anything, but I think it's a totally viable choice because of the power level that the deck is at. It has a lot of ways to uncounterably kill on turns 2 and 3, which I think is like really where you want to be. Notably, I think it has a great Dredge matchup, which is a nice thing to have. But we'll have to see how the other matchups in the format go. That's enough talking for me. Let's get into these matches. All right, here we go. Round 1 of this league with Gobos. We found Jerry. Jerry's going to be playing Dredge, and I think this matchup is quite good. Slightly favored, I would probably say. So let's try to show it off. Yeah, this hand looks fine. We've got a turn 1 Recruiter, which is not an uncounterable turn 2 kill, but it's pretty close. So the idea is we play Chrome Mox and we play an uncounterable Recruiter. We stack with Snoop, the 1-drop with Haste, and then Kiki. And that'll probably be the entire stack. It is actually unfortunate because maybe we can't do that because we have to use a fetch. Ooh, that's actually a little awkward. So I don't think we can actually make that stack because we would have to use a fetch. I don't know what I'm supposed to do then. Am I supposed to just let the Recruiter be counterable? Well, my opponent has mulligan to 3, so that does help us. I'm a little... I think you're supposed to just let the Recruiter be counterable, which is really odd. But it's the only way I can go off on turn 2, and I think speed matters more than uncounterability. But again, my opponent has mulligan to 3, so that does help that line. Yeah, I mean they could have Bizarre Force blue card for sure, but if they don't have if they don't have a force or a mental misstep after they pass their first turn back, they just die. So though, like Jerry could keep a 3-card hand here theoretically that has force and no Bizarre, but I feel like we would probably win that, so I'm okay with that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Mox Mons, and then I'm going to crack Mesa. I could theoretically just wait another turn and then play it uncounterably, but the problem with that is like you're always going to have to play the Torch Inspector uncounterable or not as like a counterable spell. So I don't really feel like that helps you very much. I'm going to just keep this Ringleader in case for some reason something got countered along the way. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do exactly what I said. I'm going to take the Torch Courier, and I'm going to take the kiki-jiki, and I'm going to take the Snoop. And then we're going to order it Kiki, Torch Courier, Snoop. And then next turn we'll play uncounterable Snoop, a counterable Torch Courier, give the Snoop haste, make infinite Snoops with kiki-jiki ability, and then on the very last ability we'll use and target the Recruiter. Recruiter will put a Sling Gang on the top of the library, and then we will sack 20 Goblins. So my opponent basically has to hit Mental Misstep or Force of Will for the Torch Courier, and that only buys them a turn. They could also hit Noxious Revival, which does buy them a turn as well. That interaction came up earlier today, actually. Yep. So Jerry and I have played this matchup before, so Jerry understands what's happening here, and we have gotten the game 1 win versus Dredge, which is very nice. I think we had a lot of game there, even with opponent, like even if opponent wasn't on a Molda 3, I feel like we did have a lot of game. So Jerry, we have played versus them, so they do know that I have ley lines, so they will be keeping in Force of Vigor for ley lines. I like to bring in the 6 Dredge Hate and the Trash Master as a way to kill Hollow One. But I don't like bringing in Shattering Spree. And then I'm going to take out Chalice. And I'm going to take out Ringleader because I don't really think you want to grind. Ringleader was more of a concession for Bug. I don't think you want like too many answers to Hollow One. And I don't feel like Misstep does too much. I think Probe is pretty unnecessary. I don't like Thorn is fine, but I think it's a little slow on the draw. I probably don't want to play it on the draw. And then I don't think you really need like a Pashalik. Pashalik? Pashalik. The thunderhead that leads in the storm. Not really necessary. Just want to keep like our combo pieces. I don't think you probably don't need both both iterations of combo pieces, but I think this is how I'd like to play it. I could see keeping in like an additional munitions expert, but it's so hard to kill a Hollow One. I think I'd rather just not care. And I think we have a Trash Master or like a Snoop with the Trash Master on top as ways to kill a Hollow One. I had a game versus Dredge where I kept a ley line and they didn't have Vigor. And the game like played out pretty interesting where I had a Lackey, they had a Hollow One. It like held each other off for a little while before the Hollow One was killed by a Trash Master. That was uncounterable. It was pretty cool. I do think that like of the matchups of the top played matchups in Vintage, I do think that Dredge is actually a pretty good one for Goblins. So another Leyline hand, very nice. We don't have a turn 1 Snoop, but we do have a turn 1 Recruiter. The Jet is always awkward because you can't cast Snoop off it, but I think you still want it for playing turn 1 Recruiter. Yeah, obviously Force of Vigor is a card that opponent will want to hit. They want to see Hollow Ones at Force of Vigors and Force of Wills. I still think I'm likely to play Mox Jet into a Vigor, just so I can play a turn 1 Recruiter. But I might not need to, because I don't really need a turn 1 Recruiter when I already have a Snoop. So it's possible I can just play it slow. I'm not sure, though. I could also do things like Recruiter for Lackey Muxus, depending on if they have a Hollow One or not. I could Recruiter for like Snoop Trash Master. There's like a bunch of weird things you can do. All right, so they obviously have Contagions as well, and they chose to pitch Contagion, which means they probably have a second Contagion. I would think they would keep a Contagion in their hand so that they wouldn't die to Lackey. And if they're on second Contagion, I do think I want to play Recruiter on turn 1. Because I think I want to play have a second Snoop to beat counters and Contagions. So I think we're just gonna look for a Recruiter play. It's not a huge problem, no. It's not a huge problem. Just something to be aware of. This might get forced. Yeah, it got forced. That's good. It's a good sign. We have so much gas in our hand that it's not a huge deal. I would still think my opponent has a second Contagion unless they have Force of Will and Force of Vigor. Which they are not F6ing, so it does seem like they have vigor as well. Okay, so they might not have contagion, and they decided to keep force of vigor, force of will. We're about to find out. So next turn, I think we're probably just jamming Snoop, and then we can play a double Bazaar. No Dredger on the first activation. Okay, that's a good sign. Oh, wow. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good detour. They're going to need to hit a Dredger in their top 2. They did hit a Dredger in their top 2, and it's a Dredge 5. I think it's still better to play this than to go for my combo, because 2 Bazaars is like going to probably kill me. So let's see what their Dredge 5 looks like here. Hoping for a miss. They missed. Wow, they missed. That is incredible. We've been very lucky this game. Or my opponent has been very unlucky, depending on how you want to talk about it. I feel like there's no reason not to get the Snoop in play now, and then we can recruit her on the next turn. Also play this Lackey off the top. Jesus Christ. Okay, sure. We'll just have it all. My opponent doesn't even have a creature to bring back this Icarid with, and so they can't get these zombie tokens or these therapies off. Yeah, that was atrocious luck for my opponent. Just like real bottom tier Dredge 5 right there. Oh, wow. That is great. I would love to have that kind of things happen in not a league, but we'll definitely take it. All right, here we go. Round 2 versus Blue Skies. We've got fairly nice hand. Got a lot of options too. We can go turn 1 Lackey, turn 1 Recruiter, or turn 1 Snoop. The highest upside. What is the highest upside? Because turn 1 Snoop can be a turn 2 kill with Recruiter. Turn 1 Lackey can be a turn 2 Muxus. Man, that's a non-trivial decision. I mean, we are going to kill them with the Muxus if the Goblin Lackey hits, because we have a Recruiter. This is true. But I think that's correct. I'm going to hold the Chrome Mox as well. I don't see a good reason to play it. My opponent usually is not a Shops player. If I thought my opponent had any chance of being on Shops, I would probably play the Chrome Mox. But all right, so we got the Force of Will out of their hand, which means looks like we're going for next turn Snoop. We might die though. My opponent has been playing a lot of 8 cast, the all-in Thoughtcast decks. Well, I guess Probe kind of reveals that Chrome Mox is a little bit of a key here, but if my opponent's countering Chrome Mox, I think that's also probably fine. Well, Fnatic is easier to cast. It is also part of the combo kill, but Fnatic is a much easier card to cast if you need to cast it. They are both like the same combo piece, but they wow, it's a nice draw. But they are a little bit different in when they can be played. So I'm gonna play Snoop here, which is gonna give me a kill if they don't find removal. Don't think there's any way I can play like a Recruiter turn here and have it be better. Okay, I'll definitely play that out. Sure. I don't know what that is. So what do you mean by a prospector pile? Yeah, but I mean, if my opponent's countering this Chrome Mox or this Skirk Prospector, I don't really care, right? That just means they're down a blue card. If I cared about baiting a counter spell, we could have maybe have done that, yeah. But they wouldn't really counter the Chrome Mox because they would just think that they needed to cast Recruiter. I need to cast Recruiter, and you probably just want to counter Recruiter anyways. So. Well, hold on. Let me stop and think here. I didn't stop and think. Theoretically, if I had a bunch more mana, I could play like Recruiter and do the Torch guy. It would need a lot of mana. I would need 3 mana. If I had 3 more mana, I could do Recruiter for Torch guy Kiki. Yeah, what do you mean by a Prospector pile, Abe? I'm not sure what that one is. Like I said, I'm pretty much learning this deck as we go. I think I played it a couple times before when people were trying it, but I'm not a super well versed. My opponent has to have removal for Snoop here, or I kill them with Recruiter. So, see what they do. Ah, they have the main deck Needle for in their Saga deck, and that will name Snoop. I don't have the main deck Trashmaster. Just not ideal. But I do have 6 mana, and I could just hard cast a Muxus if I wanted to. If you're playing against this deck, you need to make sure you name Snoop, because Snoop is the one who's going to have Kiki's ability. We also just like can play Goblins off the top of our library, so... I do have a Crater Maker, but I have to draw the Crater Maker. So I could do it for later. So you're putting a Prospector in the pile. Interesting. So I could just cast a Muxus here. I don't know, uncounterable Muxus seems pretty good. I could also, I can cast the top card. So if I go Recruiter, Crater Maker, cast Crater Maker, sack it, and have a Kiki underneath it, that just wins, right? So if I go Recruiter, Crater Maker, cast Crater Maker, cast Crater Maker, sack Crater Maker, infinite. Yes, okay, that's true. Okay, yeah, let's try that. Let's try that. Well, that could run into Force of Will, I guess, but I don't really care about that. Yeah, let's try it. This deck is not easy. It is not very intuitive. I don't know if this is going for the win is better than just like playing cards off the top or hard casting Muxus, but all right. So what I want to do here is go Kiki. Is there any real reason to change how this is built? Yeah, I guess what we can do is have like Recruiter, Kiki, and Crater Maker, so that I draw another Recruiter if I need to. Let's try that. Done. Recruiter, Kiki, Crater Maker, cast Crater Maker. So now I could also sack my Recruiter because I have a Recruiter underneath, and I could make infinite mana and just cast my Kiki later. Yeah, maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have cast Recruiter with the... Yeah, maybe I should have not cast Recruiter with the Cavern of Souls, and I should have cast the Crater Maker with the Cavern of Souls. That's true. That seems better. That's a good point. All right, so now it's better to sack the recruiter because I know I have a recruiter underneath. I'd rather keep my prospector. Probably. And then, so now we make infinite snoops. I might have broke magic. All right. At some point, this gets so large that I can just keep clicking in the same spot. And then I sack them, play the Kiki, and then recruit a win con to the top. I also could just cast this Muxus, which is kind of fun. Maybe I'll do that. That sounds like a good time. I put a recruiter in this recruiter pile. There's a recruiter underneath this kiki-jiki. But I'm gonna cast this Muxus to put them in play because that sounds like way more fun to me. Yeah, put a sling gang on top. And then sling the whole gang at them. This deck's so cool, man. It's just really, really cool. We just beat a main deck hate piece. Recruiter is a damn powerful magic card. Good call with the Crater Maker. I wasn't thinking about Crater Maker. I figured I had to draw it. But with the Prospector, we actually could play it and cast it. We won turn 3 through Force Needle. Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. All right, so I'm going to bring in Mindbreak Traps and Null Rod. I really don't know about this Thorn. I just keep boarding it out, even in matchups where it's probably fine. I think I would just rather... I don't know. I think this Thorn should probably get cut. I think I just want to have Red Elemental Blast. I think we can cut, like, this Pashik, this Ringleader. I don't know about this Gataxian Probe, though. If I keep cutting all these cards, then makes my sideboarding harder. Doesn't feel like we need 2 of these, but maybe it's nice because they could have a bunch of needles. Yeah, I think Trash Master should just be main decked instead of this Ringleader. I don't know. I thought I'd play against a lot of Bug, but I haven't seen a lot of Bug, so maybe Trash... I feel like even if I did play a Ringleader, I probably just want a Trash Master in the main. This card is just really, really good. I might just board out the... if they're Thought Cast, I kind of want to keep the Chalice even on the draw. What do we not want then? Probably don't need a Munitions Expert. Let's try this. All right. Nope. All right, I'm gonna mulligan this and keep this and bottom this. Done, 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 and dusted. All right, so like in these situations, Abe, do you just play turn 1 Snoop always, or do you play like turn 1 Recruiter? Opponent has got an Ancestral Recall. Mm. I feel like you want to just play turn 1 Snoop. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I just wanted to make sure that I had the same thoughts. Well, not exactly the card we wanted to see on the top of our library, but we do have a kill next turn. If they have nothing, it's not going to be very likely they have nothing because they have Ancestral, but they also have no blue left over here. Pretty sweet. All right, Swords to Plowshares. So they're not on 8 cast. Maybe they're on like the Saga Tinker control deck. What do I want to do? I can Matron or I can Recruit, and I can just recruit for another kill. I kind of feel like that's the way to be. I feel like we should just recruit for another kill. All right, they have a force. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a game of vintage where my opponent has Ancestral Recall and I do not. Though, if we had a Cavern, it would be a little bit better. Snoop, Prospector, Torch, Kiki, Recruiter. Yeah, wait, so why do you keep putting Prospector? A little late for a Goblin Lackey here. Don't exactly know what I'm getting with this Matron. I guess another Recruiter. I don't know if that's too slow or not, but I could just get another Snoop. But I feel like we just get another Recruiter. Okay. All right, I'll start putting the Prospector in my piles. Or not the Prospector, the Prospector in my piles. I haven't been putting him normally just because it didn't really seem like it mattered, but I could see that being the case. I think it makes more sense to just get a Recruiter here, as it's going to guarantee me a kill in 2 turns if they have nothing again. Though I guess it doesn't guarantee me a kill in 2 turns because this Saga can get a Needle, or this Saga can get a Cage. It's weird because Needle and Cage do different things in terms of stopping the combo. Needle stops like you actually doing the Kiki activations, but Cage stops you casting spells off the top, which is, both of those are legitimate things. If I have 3 mana, the Prospector is free. Because the Prospector lets you cast the kiki-jiki. Okay, I understand now. Because then you don't need the Recruiter in play. I understand. It does walk you into Mindbreak Trap, though, right? I feel like that walks you into Mindbreak Trap. When you can play around Mindbreak Trap by not doing that. All right, well, my opponent has 6 looks for a force, which is not a good sign. More like 8 looks for a force after they drew some drawing. Trying to think of if I could draw something that I wouldn't want to make this jump block. I don't think so. Maybe like a Prospector. I drew my own Snoop. So I think I would rather put the Snoop in play first, while they're less likely to have a force. Sling Gang on top. Alright, I also have a 1/1 chump blocker, which is nice. Alright, so my opponent needs to kill me Or find a force for this recruiter. What'd they get off Saga? They got a top off Saga? That's fair. I probably shouldn't F6, but I'm a little lazy. I think like continually chumping these is good because they can have like a manifold key. Maybe that doesn't actually matter. Maybe I'm supposed to keep this for like a prospector. Well, actually, I should probably keep this because I can attack with it and put a Muxus into play. What am I thinking? I guess I'm pretty dead to Time Walk if I do that. I guess I'm pretty dead to Time Walk. I didn't sack this. Ah! Yeah, I didn't sack the 1/1. I wasn't thinking. I wasn't thinking about sacking the 1/1. I was thinking about, should I not even block? I guess I'm going to have to sack the Snoop. Oh, man, I wouldn't... Theoretically, might not have to have sacked the Snoop if they Time Walked here. I think I'm just dead to Time Walk, so it doesn't really matter, but... Yes, I definitely should have sacked my lackey and drained them for 1 and put myself at a higher life total. That was not the best play. They have another swords. It feels like they have another swords. They don't. Man, I want this cavern so badly. Oh, I want this cavern so badly. Oh, well. Force check. Yeah, they did have a swords. It definitely felt like they had a swords. Does that just kill us here? No, it doesn't kill us. So we can still go for the win again on the next turn. Just kind of crazy. Like, literally every turn they've stopped us, we've been able to put, like, another win back. Right? We just go... Snoop. Courier. And Kiki. Should we put something underneath Kiki? Should we put a Mog Fanatic underneath Kiki? We don't need... No, there's no chance we'll live another turn, so we don't need to end with a recruiter. I'm just thinking that if we play Snoop into Courier and make infinite things, we still need a way to win, though, because we have to chump, theoretically, with this recruiter. So, how do we do that? Can we even do that? I don't think we can. But there's nothing to sack with the Prospector. There's nothing to sack with the Prospector, though. How does a Prospector help us? No, I'm saying we don't have enough mana. Because this recruiter was probably going to be gone. If we have to chump with this recruiter, a Prospector is not helping us. Maybe we're supposed to just like try to kill these constructs with a Trash Master or something. The problem is I can't cast a Trash Master afterwards, so that doesn't really work out for me. I don't think I can win if I don't keep this recruiter around, which means they have to have no artifacts, which is like incredibly unlikely. I don't know how I can win this, actually. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, the 1 life was a really big punt. Probably have a much higher chance of winning this game without the 1 life punt. I'm just gonna put it in. I should have ended with it. Whatever. I'm over it. Yeah, I should have. If I had, it's possible that not sacking that Goblin Lackey is going to be the difference between winning and losing this game, which is crazy. Because I can't block with this recruiter if I want to win, which means they have to not top deck an artifact. Though there's about 1 million top decks that do kill me here. Like, literally any powerful spell probably is going to kill me. I think it's quite unlikely we would get to go to our turn, but... Demonic? Alright, well, we're dead to Demonic. That makes me feel a little bit better that my punt didn't cost us the game, but... I definitely need to... I didn't really think the little things would matter in this match, but apparently they did. They can just get Tinker here, or do whatever. This would have been... Damn, double... they probably have 4 Swords to Plowshares, because this is like the Tinker control deck. Pretty damn good. Okay, yeah. Maybe they brick here. If they brick here on like land, we do win this game. They have to brick right now on land. But we would win the game. Or Fluster off on the top wins us the game as well. I thought that this deck was playing a little bit too many Fluster Storms, because it was pretty bad Citadel deck when I tested this deck. Oh, there's... Oh! Do we win? They didn't have to go Tinker. There's definitely other... They could have just gone Time Walk, right? I mean, they opened themselves up to this variant. They might still have Force on something on top, but... Yeah, maybe that was a play. Yeah, I mean, I think I could have played this game definitely a lot differently. I think the first Lackey Chump was pretty bad, but... Alright, so they had a mental misstep on the top of their library? Or did they actually pay life for this? I don't even know. So... now we're dead. Well, yeah, okay, cool. I mean, I think they're not supposed to DT for Tinker. I think they're supposed to DT for, like, Time Walk. I think their DT was pretty bad, but... we should really have no chance there the way I played the game out. If I had played the game out differently, would we have had a chance? Possibly. I don't really think this Thorn is good. Yeah, I'm kind of off the idea of this Thorn. I'm going to keep it like this. Maybe I don't need Mindbreak Trap, actually. Maybe we should just play Thorn Expert. This Expert looks pretty bad, too. Maybe we just want a Shattering Spree. Maybe I just want 2 Shattering Sprees. It's weird, because my opponent is a deck where, like, historically you want Mindbreak Trap, but I actually don't think you want Mindbreak Trap here. Yeah, I don't think I should have blocked with Lackey either. That seems like it was poor. Alright, so this is another hand with no Cavern. I think, again, we still want to lead with Lackey. If my opponent doesn't kill this Lackey, I can Matron for Muxus. Alright, I mean, I wish I had a Mindbreak Trap. Noted. I'm just gonna hard cast the Citadel on turn 1 here. Okay, noted. Okay. So if my spell resolves... Alright. I need my spell to resolve. How? I have no bait. I have no bait whatsoever. I just have to cast Matron and hope it resolves. I wonder if I'm supposed to even put a Muxus on top, or if I'm supposed... Well, I have a Recruiter, so I can actually just win the game if they have nothing. All right. All right. I guess we will go for the win. I guess they could have swords on top, but then they would have first cast it so they can keep going. Matron, does it resolve? I really need this to resolve. Please resolve. Kind of seems like they're thinking about it, which means we're probably dead. If this is getting thought about, it means we lost. Unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, I guess I wish I kept Mindbreak Trap in, but I feel like this is a pretty uncommon hand, so... We didn't really draw anything that we took out for Mindbreak Trap, so we wouldn't have had Mindbreak Trap anyway. Yeah, they just had a force on the top of their Citadel. Now I have to brick on the Citadel. This is so unfortunate. I guess I could have chosen not to put this Sling Gang in, so I could have played it and drained them for a bunch. I guess I should have done that. I should have just played Lotus Matron and kept the Sling Gang to put in with this Lieutenant. Yeah, all right, well, I mean, I missequenced this. I could have had like a 5-point drain that we could have done here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a Goblin, a Muxus on top, and then I'm going to put a combo kill underneath. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought about the mana base, but yes. I could run, what, one more different fetch land. This is so sad. Yeah, I should have had 5 goblins in play, because I could have just put the Sling Gang in and then cast the Recruiter off of lands, right? Yeah, I should have gone Lotus, Matron, and then Recruiter off of this, and then Sling Gang, so I would have had 5 more damage. It was so bad. I just wasn't thinking about it. All right, so my Mux kill is Snoop, Kiki, Skirt, Torch Courier. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's put a Trash Master or something. And then we can end with a Recruiter. So ending with a Recruiter and putting this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, and then just hoping they double brick or something. Well, I think there's no reason not to just do whatever Muxus thing, right? Because I can cast Muxus or put it into play with Blackie. All right, they hit a land off of this. So they might brick. I really wish I had not fucked up this Sling Gang, but the upside of fucking up this Sling Gang is that if they were to Swords my Lackey, I could hard cast this Muxus and still do the kill. So there was an upside to the way I played it. Was I thinking about that upside? Of course, I'm the best player on twitch.tv. Maybe not. I'll talk about it. The nice part is my opponent is a really bad Citadel deck. Like a really bad Citadel deck. All right, so my Trash Master still beats this Needle. So looking good here. All right, so what I'm going to do is attack. And if they swords, then I will cast Muxus post-combat. All right, what is that? Snapcaster? Echoing Truth on my lackey. Okay. So we actually have this covered, funny enough. They have to have no force again on top, but... I didn't actually build my pile in a case where we didn't get a Muxus in play, so we probably will lose because I built my pile really badly underneath, but... whatever. I don't think we're going to get another turn if this gets countered anyways. Ah, they had drawn another force. Or they had force the whole time. Alright, well... yeah. I didn't build my rest of this pile with the assumption that I would get another turn, so unfortunately we are going to lose even if we were to get another turn here. I should have built this with Snoop, Torch Courier, Prospect, like the actual way to play, but I did not. So I guess we wouldn't be able to do the Snoop thing anyways because there's a needle, so didn't matter. We almost were still there through turn 1 Citadel. It was close. If we had a cavern instead of a Badlands, we would win. Pretty sad. I didn't play very well, though. But it's pretty hard to beat turn 1 Citadel in general, so... I'm going to be really punished here because they're going to have to do some turn passing very likely, and I built like a really shitty pile after the Muxus because I didn't feel like it mattered. I felt like I would either hit with the Lackey or resolve a Muxus with Black Lotus, so I didn't really think about it. Maybe that is still true, but probably doesn't matter. Because I'm never going to be able to attack in again because they're going to have infinite constructs. Which means my... yeah, okay, Demonic for Time Walk is probably good enough. Again, like, this is another display of Saga not really mattering, just Citadel and Tinker mattering, right? I guess Saga mattered a little bit in game 1, but not a whole lot. Yeah, they went for Time Walk. Makes sense. Feel like you should be spinning with your top to look for more cards to play off your Citadel. Yeah. This is boring. I might just concede so we can play more Magic. Like, I think my opponent's going to figure out how to correctly win. E. Alright, infinite turns. Tinker. Alright, they did it. They figured it out. Cool, cool, cool. That was kind of sad. Alright, round 3, Vintage League. We found turn 1 Tinker, who is not a turn 1 Tinker player typically. Usually a turn 1 Bazaar player. Man, I want to keep this, but I don't think that's viable here, unfortunately. Mulligan this. This one is turn 2 kill, so keep this. Bottom this. Done and done. This Ringleader has looked really bad. Maybe I was overzealous in putting it in my main deck, and maybe it's supposed to be like a sideboard card for Bug. Oh, if you sack it, it goes away, and then you get another one. Okay, so maybe we want one of those. Okay, yeah, maybe we want one of those. That could be interesting. It's a wee bit underpowered as a Magic card. So it's like a little sus to be putting in our deck, but... Alright, my opponent kept a 5-carder. So I don't think there's any reason not to build the normal pile here. If they do Vigor us, we will have to wait a turn to win, but that's fine. So we just want to build a very normal pile here where we have Skirk. Oh, actually, Turn 1 Tinker played Hollowvine the other day. I wonder if we want to just not do the Skirk combo so that we don't run into... But then we run into Fury. Don't know if I want to... I don't think I want to run into Mindbreak Trap, actually. So I'm going to just do Torch Courier, Kiki-jiki, Recruiter, and Snoop. So we go Snoop, Torch Courier, Kiki-jiki with another Recruiter underneath. Done. Recruiter, Kiki-jiki, Torch Courier, Snoop. I guess if they have a counter spell, they can, again, counter the thing that I choose not to put underneath a Cavern of Souls. So it's not exactly a turn 2 win uncounterable, but... So if they do counter my Torch Courier, then they could Fury my Snoop, and then I am turn off from stuff and things. Yeah, so there's a lot of ways they can interact with this, but I mean, it is technically a turn 2 kill if the opponent has nothing. Which is nice. But opponent is not going to have nothing, seeing as if they're Hollowvine, their deck is just full of things. Oh. Many things. All kinds of things. Doomsday. Yeah, I probably wouldn't recommend unbanning Recruiter in Legacy. So they strip mined me. That's cool with me because just gonna do the thing anyways. Well, I guess they can counter my Snoop now. It's not great for me. I guess they can also have Fury. Those are the two. So we still have a kill on the next turn if they don't deal with the onboard Snoop. So they have to have Fury now. I mean, there are plenty of decks that can have hands that don't interact with you. So, yes. Like, if my opponent was dredged, per se, they would have very specific interaction that actually worked versus me. And it's actually usually the interaction lines up pretty poorly. I mean, you can play against, like, a Jeskai deck that just doesn't have Force of Will, right? In their opening hand. So my opponent has Fury and 3 other red cards, so it's pretty bad for me. The good thing is we can... What is the good thing here? Is there a good thing here? I don't think there is a good thing here. I think I'm going to Vamp for a Strip Mine. Fuck, they have Misstep? Why do they always have Misstep? All right, well, now we're about 1,000,000 turns off, so we're probably going to lose to my opponent's, no downside draw 2. Because now I have to draw a Kiki before I draw Recruiter, so it's just going to take too long and we're going to lose. I am glad I didn't put a Prospector in this pile, though, because then I would have to draw through the Prospector as well. Though if I had put a Prospector in the pile, I would be able to cast Ringleader. So there are some upsides. Yeah, they drew a Wasteland, too. All right, well... Unfortunately, my opponent had too much interaction here. Not much I could have done, I don't believe. My opponent didn't have any forces, but they had everything they needed, really. I think if opponent didn't have a mental misstep, they probably lose this game. Because we just get a strip mine, reset our top of our library, and kill off their Bazaar, and they have 2 cards in hand and lose. But... yeah. Unfortunately, opening with 2 squeeze and getting infinite activations is just not going to work. So we draw the recruiter, and then next turn we have to draw a land, and then the next turn, I don't even know. I don't think we have outs here. I guess if we draw a land on this next turn and play recruiter, and then play the thing, and they have drawn nothing, but they're at 8 cards because it's Hollow Vine and it's a completely reasonable deck. Still don't see how this deck is reasonable, but that's cool. It's really funny when you go into post board against this deck and you board in 4 ley lines, you ley line them, and they still put 10 free power into play and counter all your spells and kill you. That's always a good time. All right, so my opponent thoroughly dismantled what we were doing without even forcing. I don't really know. Maybe I shouldn't have played the recruiter with a cavern. Is that a legitimate thing to say? I don't think so. Like, they had to have a Fury, and they only usually play 1 main deck Fury if they copied the most recent lists. So I think more than not, it was just kind of unlucky the way their stuff lined up versus our stuff. So Chalice, I do think I'll keep Thorn in this matchup. This matchup seems like a reasonable place to be keeping Thorn in. Ringleader, Sling Gang, Munitions Expert is like still kind of sus. Seems like pretty hard for that to work out in our favor. Maybe we just do this. I mean, we could probably board out a bunch of lackeys in this matchup. They're probably awful. I don't know if I want to do that on the play, though. Maybe I want to do that on the draw. It's like pretty hard to imagine a turn where they don't have something to block. They have 12 creatures for free on turn 1. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just want to board out all my lackeys. 3 of my lackeys or something. Kind of makes my Munitions Expert worse. I'm kind of thinking on the play we should just keep them in, though. And then on the draw, we should definitely take them out. Yeah, unlike... well, I have 2 of them. Unlike Dredge, I don't think this matchup is very good. All right, let's see if I can get them to use a bunch of cards on these. Oh, I actually can't actually put anything under this Chrome Mox. Never mind. All right, well, this was a bait anyways. They didn't fall for it. Unlucky. All right, they didn't fall for it. There's some world where opponent would like force negation or force this Chrome Mox because I have Cavern of Souls in my deck, so I don't think it's unreasonable. But the rough part here is my opponent just needs any creature, and this Lackey is stopped, which makes the Lackey plan kind of bad. I don't know if I'm supposed to... Yeah, they have 1. I guess if I draw a Munitions Expert, I get in. Never mind. So their hand again was 2 squeeze, 5 free mana creature, 5 power of free creatures. Like, I don't know how anyone is ever supposed to beat this deck. It just seems completely unwinnable. Well, we can hardcast an uncounterable Muxus next turn if they don't Fury us. So, welcome back. I really just don't understand. Like, I get that it's bad against Bug and sometimes dies to itself, but this deck is just never once reasonable against me on stream. Have we played a Hollow Vine matchup on stream in the past month where I had a legitimate chance of winning? It just doesn't feel like we have. Maybe it only looks good on stream against me, and it's just bad every other time, but it sure looks good against me on stream. Put it that way. My opponent has 10 cards in hand. Second Bazaar, sure. Their deck never fails, though. I've never seen this deck fail. I don't understand how it fails. Yeah, just, 3 squeeze. Casual. All right, we didn't get wastelanded, though, and we didn't get furied, so maybe we can play a Muxus and win. All right, doing it. Goodbye, goblin lackeys. You lived a nice life. All right, I got a Muxus. Is that good enough? 5 cards. 5 cards? 2 goblins. God damn it. If this Chrome Mox... 2 goblins out of 5 cards? That's pretty sad. Pretty sad. Okay, hold on. I can get a Trash Masty. Is that the best thing to get here? Trash Master? Why do we want a Prospector? What does that do for us? Don't we want a Recruiter so that we can kill them next turn? Pretty sure we want a Recruiter. They kind of have to find a Fury now, but they also get to draw 5 cards next turn. No, we could not get the Courier. It was a pretty bad Muxus trigger. We only hit 2 goblins out of 5 cards. So my opponent has, 9 cards in their main phase. Now they're up to 11 cards. Back down to 8. Back up to 10. Back down to 7. Reasonable. Maybe they'll try to wasteland my souls, but I have another souls and we would win. If they don't find a Fury, we probably do win. They kind of need to have a Fury, right? I loathe this deck. This deck should not exist whatsoever. That's okay. It's okay. No big deal. Not a problem. We'll carry on. Okay. All right. No Fury. No Fury. Attack for 8. I don't care. Whatever. Kill me. Fury? Okay. Wasteland. Okay. Maybe they're banking on Force of Will. Maybe they're banking on Force of Will. Maybe the top deck Cavern from last time will kill them. It certainly seems like that's the case. I think we got it. I think we're going to go game 3. Maybe they'll have a chance to fizzle again. All right, there's definitely no reason to stack this weird, right? We just put Kiki on top, and that's it. Just a Kiki, right? Kiki, make infinite things, and then copy the Recruiter. Oh, we could lose to Noxious Revival. Not much I can do about that, though. We wouldn't lose to Noxious Revival if we didn't have the Cavern in the graveyard. Can we beat Noxious Revival? All right, hold on. Let's think about this. I don't think so. Is there any way we could clear a card? There's no way for me to beat Noxious Revival. I don't see a way. But it's kind of unlikely they would have Noxious Revival in against us still, unless they thought we were a Wasteland deck. All right, I'm just going to get a Kiki and hope it's good enough, because I don't feel like it anymore. Fuck, man, we're so close. All right, can we live for a turn? Do we live? We might live for a turn, but then they can just find a Fury. Yeah. Let's see. I do have to keep my recruiter in play now, though, so that might have cost me the game, actually. So maybe I did have to build my pile with a recruiter, with something. I couldn't figure out any way to beat a Noxious Revival, no. Pretty unfortunate. Prospector, Ringleader. I mean, I cut Ringleader from the deck, so definitely no Ringleader pile. This deck is just so unreasonable. It's so sad. So unfortunately, I have to not block with this recruiter, which means that I am not taking lethal. Okay. I could also keep the matron instead of the recruiter if I wanted to. Okay, well, I'm still technically winning here. Unless they have another Noxious Revival. Come on! It's so unfun. Let me play fucking Magic. So sad. Alright, well. I fucking hate this deck. They also had Surgical, which also beats me. So, yeah, whatever, sure. I mean, they're drawing 20 cards every turn. Like, what do we expect? Let's do it. Let's do it. We got Anti-Rush. We got turn 1 Cavern Goblin Lackey. Let's battle. Ancient Tomb, Mana Crypt. That's not good for the home team. Grim Monolith. That doesn't sound good for the... oh, we died. Noted. Well, I guess we can not technically die because of this Mana Crypt, so let's see some more. They also have an Ancient Tomb, so... Foundry Inspector. I mean, we're still technically not racing anymore. Yeah, we're no longer racing. All right. So they're probably the helm, the weird helm combo deck. It's just an all-in a mud combo deck. We're just gonna bring in Sprees, Needles, maybe an Earwig squad. Can't remember how many win cons they have in their deck. I don't think there are very many. And a Null Rod. I don't have a good number on how many people play leagues and casual tournament area. But I can tell you that this year 1,000 different people registered for Premier level events. Let me make sure that's true. I can give you that, but I can't give you league data or stuff like that. Maybe I won't play Earwig Squad. Maybe I won't play a Needle either. I don't know. So yes, over the course of 2021, 949 different players have registered for Premier level events. Only half of those have played more than once, 522, and only 376 have played 2 or more Premier level events. Sorry, no. 3 or more premier level events. But that's just premier level, and typically premier level doesn't encompass a very large percentage of a player base. So I don't know. Let's say 2,000 players. More than standard, I can tell you that much. Pretty confident that the vintage player base is bigger than the standard player base on Magic Online. So. But we have 100 people in with active leagues right now, which is not an unreasonable number. So, all right, on the play, what do we got? We've got a not a turn 2 kill, but probably worth keeping. So we have a Chalice on 1, which is quite good against our opponent's deck. Though I guess we lose to a sphere, right? But I don't think our opponent actually plays spheres because of the deck deck choice they play. So. The lethal Chalice keep. All right. I'm happy that Chalice is paying for itself here. That's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. Oh, I didn't bring in Mindbreak Trap. That was a fucking mistake. Well, we're pretty lucky to have sneaked out the Chalice win there because I really need these Mindbreak Traps. I think I'll just take the Chalice out on the draw. I think Chalice on the draw is just never going to be good enough. Let's try that. Definitely want the 2 Mindbreak Traps. Okay, so if we don't die on turn 1, we don't really play Magic, actually. But I think it's probably still worth keeping. That was close to a turn 1. How? If I had 2 mana, but Snoop on 1. Oh, there's a basic mountain in this deck. So is this the Burgy deck? Okay. All right, well. Do I use 2 things as a Lotus Petal to get a Fanatic, to get a Prospector in play before we Null Rod? Probably? I guess I would rather put the... No, I don't think I'd rather put the Vamp. I guess we don't have to do that. Yeah, I guess we can just play Null Rod. I'm into it. Just thinking about like random curl box things, but they're all pretty bad. All right, this locks off most of my opponent's deck, I would think. And then we just need to draw lands and goblins. Yo, what's up, Stewie? Thanks for the 10 months. Continued support. Much appreciated. Almost a year. I mean, if I'm my opponent, I'm not conceding to it. Like, there's still a workshop deck with an inspector. Like, it's not over. Double mountain draw. Interesting. All right, we just need to draw a little help, and then we'll be good here. We have a, you know, we're kind of racing as well, which is nice. My opponent's deck is usually the kind of deck that does fold to things like Null Rod. Second Inspector is a good one, though. Third Chrome Box is not great. Third Chrome Box was not the best draw we had in our deck. Don't think it's over yet, but the clock is now ticking. We have lots of very good draws here. Brady Maker. Well, this is an upgrade. Let me attack first, I guess. This technically deals with one of them. Yeah, the 3 Chrome Box draw was not ideal. I'll tell you that much. All right, well, I played a Grizzly Bear. What is this? They have Lightning Bolt? Holy shit. All right, I think we're going to lose this game, actually. Funnily enough, I don't know how we get out of this now. We go to 5. We have to draw Lackey right now. Chose the wrong deck. What do you mean? Why does killing the... I mean, I blocked. Blocking is also killing. This is, like, pretty disgusting. Pretty says it says we're going to play both of them, so... Especially with how fast we're losing this league. That was extremely unlucky draws. Yikes. Yeah, it doesn't get worse than that. The opponent having Lightning Bolt in their Mishra's Workshop deck was definitely icing on the cake there. Pretty tilted, but oh well. Yeah, another bolt. I mean, we're just like very dead to another bolt anyways, right? This hand just does not look strong enough. This is much better. And sweet. Okay, Island Soul Ring. And top. And Time Vault. Wonder if we're gonna get to live till turn 2 this time. We do have turn 2 lethal, so that would be nice. If we live till turn 2, we get to go Recruiter, put the lethal 5 goblins on top, Lackey, hit, Mux. Oh, no, 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 no. All right, my opponent, I did not see this coming. I had F6 because I was going to F6 through my opponent's turn. But my opponent chose to untap their Time Vault. So I started F6ing through my turn, and I was not able to make the recruiter kill pile. So instead, I guess we're just gonna have to hope it works out. God, I did not think that was what was gonna happen here. But we have a Muxus, so we might still win. Okay, we still win. Beautiful. Yep. Get a Torch Courier, and then can we beat a... Yeah, we should be fine. I mean, my opponent untapped the Time Vault. What do you want from me? Who does that? This is 2021. Who does that? That's too funny, man. I'm the combo deck now. When this deck gets to do its thing, it's real fun. And the fact that I can like just click it instead of having to, you know, like choose the right one or anything, I just it's good feel goods. It's good feel goods. Yes, Justin, great words. Fantastic words. The best words, one might say. I have the best words. Morning, no props. Good morning. So we make infinite snoops there, and then on the last snoop I make a copy of either matron or ringleader, and then I put I make a copy of ringleader and I put a sling gang or a mog fanatic on the top of my library and then ping them for 20. This is an interesting hand. So if I draw a colorful spell, I can go demonic lackey and chalice on 0. Sure, let's try it. Maybe. The problem with the Hermit Druid deck is there are a lot of Flusterstorms running around right now. We're gonna finish out this league with Goblins, and then we're gonna try the Thing in the Ice deck. Island Go. You got one of them Ancestrals? No. We did draw the colorful spell. That's exciting. DT for Lotus Chalice on 0. Do you think that's actually better than Lackey? I think it's better to play Chalice as a force bait. But this one runs into Mental Misstep, so yeah, it goes a little bit both ways, right? This one runs into Mental Misstep, but this one plays around Force of Will better. Everything resolved, so I have no idea what's happening. Mystical for Ancestral. You got it. I think we're winning this game. Yeah, I don't think you're ever supposed to skip your turn there, but that's how you learn that you're not supposed to skip your turn. Oh, they got Hercule's Recall. Interesting. Did that mean they held a bunch of zeros? It is pretty good against my Chrome boxes. My opponent is making interesting choices. Let's put it that way. Yep. That was some value. Okay, they held a Sapphire and an Opal. Okay, and a oh, okay. I definitely think they probably shouldn't have held all of those things, but because then they wouldn't have had to get a Hercule's Recall. But I got a Muxus. Let's see what the Muxus has. Recruiter Matron. All right, so definitely want to lead with this Matron. I can get a Prospector off this Matron. Does that change anything? It doesn't change anything, right? There's nothing I can do about my opponent top decking PO besides playing a Chalice, right? Well, yeah, I think I just want a Prospector so that I can go for a Snoop kill. Yeah, so we'll get a prospector, and then we're going to go torch courier and kiki-jiki and snoop with a recruiter underneath. Done. Recruiter, kiki-jiki, torch courier, snoop. Damage is dealt. Play a prospector. Play a chalice. I guess play another lackey. Yeah, I don't really care. Your go. All right, beat me on this turn, or forever hold your peace. I guess I could just draw Force of Will, but I'm probably gonna kill. I will kill him with Muxus. Oh, baby, the tabby. Fuck. How do I win this? So if I keep my lackey and then put in my snoop, I guess I should have played this Chrome Mox on before playing my chalice. Damn, dude. I guess I should have played my Chrome Mox before playing my chalice. Why can't I keep lackey? I can keep lackey, I can put in a snoop, but then I can't play my torch courier off the top, so it doesn't really matter. I think this is a keep Muxus and attack for 6 turns angle, or 5 turns angle. I got punished like really hard. I could have put this Chrome Mox with a lackey before my chalice, and then I would actually be able to win on this turn. Oh, but wait, I have a prospector. This is why Jarvis is the professional Magic the Gathering player and I'm not. All right, so my prospector can pay for lackey and maybe. All right, hold on. So I use my prospector to pay for 2 goblins. I can keep the lackey and the recruiter, and then I can lackey in the snoop, and then I can badlands in the torch courier, and then I win the game. Fucking got it. All right, I had to use that outside assistance to get there, but you know, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that. Streaming is basically cheating. That's why I stream snipe. I can't believe that conversation actually happened on twitter.com, but actually I can believe that conversation happened on twitter.com, so if they're streaming, it means they're already cheating, so why don't I cheat? Bruh. All right, put in my snoop, play my torch courier, give my snoop haste, make a bunch of snoops. God, this deck is so cool, man. This deck's so cool. I like how we're 2-3 and I'm having fun. That's the biggest upside of this deck that I've seen yet. Somehow, I am having a losing record, but I'm having a fucking blast. So, big win for Justin. Do I have enough yet? I can never tell if I have enough, so I might as well do a couple. Oh, I'm at 13. Yeah, I have enough. All right. Recruiter. And then Mod Fanatic. Oh, they're done. Damn. This deck's so cool. Fuck. All right, so let's recap. All right, we had Dredge, crushed it. I like our Dredge matchup. We had Esper Tinker. They had turn 1 Citadel, which was rough, but overall seemed reasonable. We had Hollowvine, which I could never, ever win in the history of Magic the Gathering, so no worries there. That's not a beatable deck for me. Then we had the all-in, the all-in, what the hell is that deck called? Fergie Storm, which we had a good amount of hate for, just didn't line up perfectly. We had some bad Chrome Mox draws underneath our own Null Rod, and then we just crushed PO. So not a bad league, all things considered. We made some changes. We got this Trash Master in the main deck. I think this leader should just be in the board. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this leader should be in the board. And I'm thinking I boarded this card out in every matchup. So I'm not feeling that one. Let's go look at Goblin decks real quick. I kind of like the Trashy in the main. I think I always had a Trashy in my main, but all right, let's go look at the winning Goblin list from Legacy. Anything sweet in here? I have an Earwig in my sideboard. I don't think we need an Incinerator. But we could play an Incinerator or like more Munitions Experts to kill like Deathray Shamans. I kind of think I want one of these. Have we come across times where we wanted a War Marshal? I don't know. Yeah, maybe we'll keep the Mons for now. Maybe we'll keep the Mons for now. I just feel like most of the time that you have a Muxus in play, Jarvis, you're gonna win anyways. But maybe that's not true. Maybe that's not true. I like the idea of having a Trashy in the main. I like 2 kiki-jiki. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Having access to a War Marshal seems like a nice thing to have. I think, yeah, I definitely don't own a War Marshal, probably. I think having a War Marshal would be pretty cool. It also chumps Hollow One real nice. Where's a nice printing of this? This is that one? The one. All right. Yeah, that seems good. I haven't ever felt yet that I needed a Haste Lord. I could still see you wanting a Haste Lord, like a War Chief maybe. I definitely have played a War Chief in the past. And maybe a War Chief is better than a Probe. I don't think there's been very many opportunities where I wanted this Probe. I just think I want to cut the Probe for a War Chief. We could play Fury in our board, couldn't we? Kind of an interesting thought. Is there... Yeah. Maybe I want a Fury in my board instead of Munitions Expert number 2. I liked... Maybe this Ringleader is, like, not necessary. But we didn't play any decks where we're going to go, like, grindy. So, like, we didn't really... I guess I was supposed to bring in this Earwig squad more than I did. I'm kind of off this Earwig squad. I don't really think I don't think the decks are playing so little win cons anymore. Like, especially with all the people who are on Saga PO. I don't think that, like, no one's playing my style of PO with, like, 2 win cons. Kind of think you would want another Null Rod, though. Maybe you just want more red elemental blasts. I think the Mons has a place if we're trying to lackey harder. Maybe? I'm not sure. What about this Masked Vandal? Kind of an interesting card. Having to have a creature in your graveyard is pretty prohibiting in Vintage, though. So I think it's kind of bad. Also, you don't have Vial to help you cast it. All right, this is where I'm settling for now. I liked how the deck played. Obviously, we only went 2-3, but I feel like we showed off the power of the deck pretty well. We got to do a lot of the really powerful things like turn 2 kills. We got to do Lackey Muxus. We got to play against a deck that had like a bunch of answers, and we got to continually put in threats where we were like looping ringleaders and stuff. Not ringleaders. We were looping recruiters. So I was pretty happy with the deck. I want to play more of it because I actually do think this has some viability in Vintage. I think it's definitely underexplored and has, I think the specifically Snoop Recruiter is an extremely powerful, tight, and Cavern of Souls-able combo. Fast, powerful, like it. And then I think having the Muxus Lackey as a different plan, having 2 avenues to attack where you can attack through creatures or you can attack through combo. I like this deck. I think this deck's so cool. So, not bad. If you liked this content on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps me out, grows the channel. And if you're on Twitch, make sure you follow so you can see more Vintage content in the future. I stopped recording, though, which is probably a problem. When did I stop recording? Did I ever start recording?